Everybody shut up!
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2, and welcome to GGG Live. We have a huge amount of stuff to share today, so it's going to be a good one. Twitch drops are enabled on today's livestream, so you'll be able to claim the Red Queen's font hideout decoration by following the instructions below. Okay, so with that out of the way, time to roll the trailer for Path of Exile 2, Return of the Ancients.
Those in darkness who once lay dormant now return. We who came before rise again. Behold, the first edict.
I love traps. Fuck yeah, let's go. What? Reach rework, you mean you just took the PoE 1 version? Put it in PoE 2?
You are completely alone.
Explore the ocean.
Hunt like it's your last.
Continue the search. See what you can find.
Now see how your story ends.
No minions, fuck off. Okay, wait. We're playing that. We're playing that. Yo, we're playing that. Monk is always good in this game. Monk is the only good melee.
To face us is to face.
It looks pretty good. Ghost returns.
So as you can see, there's just so much going on in Return of the Ancients, it's hard for even us to keep track of it all. Now we promised that this one was going to revamp the endgame, and I'm very excited to talk about it. But first, we've got to talk about the League. So to do that, I'm going to hand things over to Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. Now, for those of you who are new to Path of Exile, each time we release an update, we also release a new league. Not only do we have a new economy, But we also introduce new content through the campaign, which gives you a fresh play experience right
Dude,
from
this
the
guy's got
start of the
fucking
game,
Jordans
as
on.
well as new mechanics, storylines, and in-game bosses. In the Runes of Elder League, you will encounter a man being attacked by the undead in Clearfell.
And you will die.
After saving him, he introduces himself as Pharaoh, a young blacksmith trying to bring back the ancient art of Ezomite runesmithing. He has been collating his discoveries in a tome and is keen to show you how runesmithing works. By inscribing symbols on these ancient Ezomite remnants, you can create all manner of old magics. Unfortunately, on doing so, the corpses of the nearby undead are revived and infused with some of the latent power, making for a difficult fight.
Wait, this is like a level 1 encounter, though. What the fuck?
After defeating these monsters, Pharaoh realizes that runesmithing is a dangerous business.
Bro, New York.
And he is going to need the help of someone a little more martially inclined to discover these secrets.
Me?
He lends you his tome and asks that you note down anything you discover when you return to him. In each area in the Runes of Elder League, you will find a remnant. And as you approach it, you will notice that some symbols are already present, and some are waiting for you to fill them in. Depending on which symbols are already present, you will have different options for which items you can create using this magic.
Drogors, thanks,
For
man.
example, if you combine Tempest and Lightning, you can create an Orb of Augmentation.
Yes!
But be careful.
Okay.
The symbols used to craft the items also empower the monsters around the remnant, who will be revived as undead to fight again with different properties depending on what runes you used. So, if you use a fire rune in your recipe, the monsters will be empowered with fire.
Makes sense.
Or if you use a moon rune, lunar beams will rain down as you fight the monsters.
Nice. Don't die.
After the
Nordies,
fight,
thanks, man.
break the remnant to receive the item you crafted.
Nice.
As you get higher level,
What is that name?
you will
I'm not
start
saying
to
your
find
name.
remnants
Fuck you.
with more slots for more runes,
Oh,
allowing you to
shit.
craft rarer items. As the number of slots increases, though, more waves of monsters will be added. With
How
each
is
wave
that
being
his
empowered by
name?
more and more.
How
of
is
the
that your
runes.
name on Twitch? I'm banning you.
And this can get pretty dicey, because some of the runes can have powerful effects.
A Blowguard and Og Slicker. Thanks, dude. Oh, yeah.
Like the Oath rune, which will cause one monster to be nominated as a leader, spawning waves of minions. The leader itself will be invincible, but killing its minions will deal damage to it.
You think Korgos will become nominated to be the leader?
Some recipes can get pretty large, requiring 6, 7,
What?
or even 8 runes. But don't worry, you won't have to remember them. Pharaoh's runecrafting book will record all the options, allowing you to simply pick which one you want to craft, given the existing runes that are already on the remnant. To expand your knowledge and to allow you to craft more items, Pharaoh has asked that you keep an eye out for signs of runic magic around Rayclost. He wants to document anything you find in order to rediscover the secrets of Ezomite runesmiths of old. The first of these can be found in Ogham, and reveals to you an ancient secret, buried deep underground.
Korgos.
The runic magic which the Ezomites believe to be their own is actually of Kalguran origin. Thousands of years ago, the Kalgurans came to Rayclass to find sources of Verisium, a metal on which engraved runes allow control over reality. Pharaoh is determined to learn these ancient ways and gain mastery over them. If you can bring him more Verisium, he'll be able to use it to smith power into any armor, granting you Runic Ward, the power harnessed by the Kalgurans since ancient times.
Life builds better?
Runic Ward is a new resource
It's gonna
that
be good for
protects you
evasion.
from death.
Fuck off.
Should you run out of life, your Runic Ward will kick in, sustaining your body until your life can return. It effectively acts as an extra life pool. Of course, should you take enough damage to run out of that, you will still die. Every single piece of armor in the game can be upgraded this way. Even uniques. Some are just a strict upgrade, giving Runic Ward with no downside. Others are more extreme, sacrificing defenses to get a much larger amount of Runic Ward. There are even some that add new modifiers to uniques entirely, making them much more viable for higher level play. But the Kalgurans use Runic Ward for more than just a defense. It can also be used to power many other magics. Instead of using gems created from corruption, the Kalgurans used runes of power and fueled them with Runic Ward. Many of the options available from Remnant crafting are new types of Kalguran skills that exclusively spend Runic Ward to wreak havoc. An example is Triskelion Cascade. Using it will cause your next spell to be triggered multiple times in a Triskelion pattern. You can use it with skills like Ice Nova that you cast from yourself, or with something you target at a distance, like Comet. There are also skills to modify existing effects using runic magic, like Frost Flame Nova. Using this skill on a pack of burning enemies will transform the Ignite into Frostfire, both burning them and building up freeze at the same time. You have basic buffs like Hollow Shell that guards all nearby allies, to more complicated mechanics like the Mark of Repulsion that creates a mark capable of pushing away all nearby enemies. Instead of spending
nobody's using
mana,
that one.
like skill gems do, all these skills cost Runic Ward, and unlike gems, they don't have a color. This means that they don't care about attribute requirements, or what kind of weapon you use. These skills are designed to be used on any class, and so often interact with mechanics that apply across many characters. By combining different runes together, the Kalgurans were able to support their runic abilities, and you can as well. There is also a set of runic supports that can be combined with regular skill gems in interesting ways. Concussive Runes allows you to add these concussive shockwaves to any skill that stuns, while Runic Infusion lets you spend ward to directly empower the damage on any skill. Now, there are other quests during the campaign too, that unlock even more interesting crafting methods.
Prove it.
Buried deep in the jungle in Act 3, you can find the Mystic Refuge, containing even more secrets for Pharaoh to learn from. Using this knowledge, he gains the ability to reforge unique weapons. With this technique, many low-level unique weapons can be upgraded to do significantly more damage. Now, we've been able to take a bunch of uniques that had interesting modifiers, but were not in-game viable, and give them a bit of a boost to get there. And it's not just low-level uniques. All Kalguran uniques are able to be runeforged this way too, and they can do some pretty interesting things. Like Searle's Grit, a new unique, which when runeforged can get one of several different outcomes. Now, there is still so much more that you can craft with remnants. There are also 100 new runes, as well as many other new crafting currencies. This is the runes of Eldur after all, and some of these runes have quite powerful effects. For example, this elemental conversion rune will convert all the existing mods on a non-unique weapon from one element to another. Using it, you could combine a weapon with all 3 elemental damage mods into a single element, making a weapon with massive amounts of cold damage. There is also a rune that lets you destroy your rune sockets to turn them into a dual socket on your item. And there are even crafting meta runes that can unlock new types of mods when used with regular crafting. For example, this rune of chronomancy will unlock a set of time-related mods to be crafted on your boots. Once placed inside, use regular crafting orbs to attempt to get new mods like cooldown speed or increased skill effectuation. You can also create a new type of currency called alloys. Using regular metals alloyed with verisium, new modifiers not normally available can be directly crafted onto your items. Using imbued alloy could improve your ailment damage, for example. There are honestly so many options here that unlock all sorts of crazy crafting projects. So I think people will be experimenting with these for a long time. Once you get to King's March in Act 4, Pharaoh finally meets Danig, a real Kalguran runesmith. And riddled with excitement, he wants to learn how to merge modern Kalguran techniques with the ancient knowledge that he has found. From here on, Pharaoh joins in the Kalguran expeditions that Danig has been leading. With the ancient knowledge that Pharaoh brings to the table, the Kalguran expeditions that Danig has been going on will change significantly. For those of you who haven't played it, the Expedition League mechanic involves carefully placing explosives, uncovering the buried dead, and recovering verisium from them. By choosing where to place the explosives, you can choose which kind of challenges you would like to face, or rewards you would like to claim. But unlike before, expeditions now contain the remnants from Runes of Eldur, allowing you to do some specific crafts along the way using the new League crafting mechanic. One very important difference from the simple remnant encounters, though, is that the empowerments that the remnants grant apply to every monster down the explosive line for the rest of the encounter, stacking together. This can lead to some pretty extreme situations. If you stack too many remnants, you might be in for a fight beyond your abilities, but the rewards can be very worth it. Each mod on the monster is improving the items that they can drop. Once you get to the endgame, you will find that the Atlas has changed substantially. To the south, you will now find the coastline of Rayclast, with the ocean beyond. King's March has not fared well after the Cataclysm, and lays in ruins. Rog's shop has been destroyed, but he is much more concerned about his wife, Gwenyn. He would like to launch an expedition deep into the ocean to find her, and this begins a new major mechanic for expedition, exploring the ocean. Previously, a logbook was a single encounter. Now, using a logbook, you can send ships to explore an area of the ocean to the southeast, uncovering a range of islands to begin your search for Gwenyn. You can hop from island to island, doing many new encounters. There are islands with expeditions, grand expeditions, new bosses, and all sorts of other unique things to find. Eventually, you will find the island that Gwenyn has been holed up on. It turns out that she has found the tomb of an ancient Kalguran, Medved. While she appreciates you coming to her rescue, she is still keen to blow open the doors of the vault and take whatever you can find inside.
We know!
It's just a shame that Medved isn't as dead as you previously assumed.
Bitch.
Now, after you have defeated Medved, you will find another logbook. And this time you can use it to choose which direction you want to explore. The ocean is vast and contains a huge number of new islands to find. With each logbook, you can explore one sector and you can go as deep as you like. There are all sorts of interesting objects to uncover and dungeons to explore. Many of the islands have expeditions with totally new mechanics. So for example, here is a volcanic island with voltaxic sulfite. Blowing up the sulfite will unleash extra waves of enemies. But there is also this wall with a suspicious light coming from behind it. On blowing it open, a giant ogre comes out, and he is determined to eat as much sulfite as possible. The more sulfite mounds that you have blown up, the more empowered and the more rewarding he will become. These islands contain all sorts of little secrets that you can find and blow up. Free trapped wisps, blow open root doors, even raise ancient precursor technology. And of course, more bosses. There are more and further vaults to blow up. And one of them in particular is pretty important. The Tomb of Uhtred, the Star Drinker.
My bitch. Uhtred, Lord of Putrid.
Uhtred was responsible for calling down the meteors of Elysium, which the Kalgurans used to power their ancient magic. And upon defeating him, he calls down a truly gigantic one into the ocean nearby. On visiting it, you find that it is shrouded by a strange energy emanating from the Verisium core of the meteor within. There is something growing in there, and it can't be anything good. In order to gain entry, Danig suggests that the Triskelion Flame, an ancient Kalguran artifact that can absorb and cancel the effects of Verisium magic, could be used to enter. But to find it, you will need to locate the Tomb of Olroth, leader of the Knights of the Sun. Defeat him and gain access to whatever eldritch nightmare is growing inside.
It's an eldritch nightmare.
Now, we're not going to spoil the boss, but one thing you should know is that the Verisium that makes up the core of the meteor is of a quality that has not been available for millennia.
Asshole
Bringing this to
juice.
Pharaoh and Danig should allow them to forge some objects of power, the creation of which has been lost to time. So that's the League, and there is a lot going on. To sum all that up, there is a new encounter with over 30 new monster types and over 30 new rune modifiers to enhance them.
Die!
You
Show
can
to
create
death.
more than 100 new runes to craft your gear, as well as dozens of other new currency items. And there are new quests added to the campaign to unlock even more new crafting options. Rune forging armors, upgrading uniques, dozens of new Kalguran skills and supports, tons of new islands to discover by exploring the ocean, 5 new bosses, including a new pinnacle boss, and a bunch of new uniques to top it off. But there is still a ton more to come. It's time to talk about the massive changes to the endgame. But for that, I'll hand it back to Jonathan.
Now, as Mark hinted at before, the endgame atlas is very different now, and the ocean to the south is the least of the changes. The entire area around your starting location is now teeming with new questlines and things to discover. Will you investigate the strange forest to the west?
No.
The cracks in the earth to the east?
No.
Or perhaps visit the ruins of a Val city in the north?
No.
The atlas now has fixed points of interest at specific locations,
No.
giving you specific objectives that are easy to find.
Prove it.
Like before though, no matter which objective you choose, going to towers to see what's out there is always a good idea. The first time you do that though, something new happens. The earth shakes, and a gigantic fortress rises from the earth. A remnant of the ancient precursor civilization. The cataclysm of the beast has caused an ancient protocol to be invoked.
The beast.
Should corruption ever take hold to this degree, the world must be scoured and purged of corruption. You will need to make your way into the fortress and activate the gates. Gain the
Beastie
keys to
Lord.
reach these ancient precursor weapons
I saw him. Beastie Lord.
and disarm them. But this will be no easy task. The
Wait, is
fortress
it
has
actually a
many
thing?
areas to explore and many new things to find. You will power up ancient machines, fight new and deadly foes, discover many new areas, and uncover some dark secrets. Now, the Fortress is the first of the new full endgame storylines that we're adding in 050, and there's a lot going on with it. But not only that, it has some pretty cool new mechanics as well. The areas inside the Fortress are special. Many of them have new mechanics or rewards that they grant. Like this map, where all the rares are contained in essence crystals. Or this one, which replaces all monster packs in the area with strongboxes. Or this one, which spawns an Asmeri spirit that always moves on from a rare after you kill it, allowing you to chase it through the entire map. Now, just like the normal areas of the Atlas, you'll need to fight the map boss of each area to complete the map. But unlike a normal map, the ones in the Fortress each contain precursor nodes after the boss, and activating these nodes will give you points for the new and improved Atlas passive tree. Now, we had an Atlas passive tree before, but it was one of the areas of the endgame that just wasn't up to scratch. The Atlas tree now works quite a lot differently. We have significantly upgraded the kind of mechanics that you can find on the Atlas tree. Like this one, that gives a chance to make rogue exiles you fight retreat from combat and move to an adjacent map. Before you fight them again, they'll upgrade their gear and come back with a grudge this time. There are also a lot of nodes that combine mechanics together in new ways, like this one, which lets Asmeri spirits possess strongboxes. All the regular monsters that come out of them are touched by the spirit, and the rares are all possessed, giving you some incredible loot potential. You get points from every single area you complete in the Fortress, and unlike before, that means you can allocate the entire Atlas tree. Yes, this whole tree can be yours. This change is pretty important, since it allows us to be able to create many types of bonuses that we wouldn't have been able to create before. Like this one, which gives a chance for cities to be invaded by another faction, and can even allow it to contain 2 faction leaders, allowing you to get 2 crisis fragments. If we'd done this kind of thing on the old tree, we would have wanted to spec into it before running a city map, then unspec out of it before running anything else. With full allocation, we can have cool bonuses like these. Now, obviously, we still want to make sure that you have choices that define your in-game Atlas build. So many nodes in the Atlas tree are now multi-choice. Everyone will get the node, but which bonus you choose to use is up to you. Do you want your powerful boss maps to contain more essences, summoning circles, or rogue exiles? But there's also nodes that contain more unusual things. So for example, on this node you can choose. Do you want to give a chance for shrines to instead be given to the map boss in the area, making them more challenging but dropping special loot? Or would you rather give a chance to be given a shrine buff before entering boss arenas, making for an easier fight? Now, I could probably nerd out about cool stuff in the tree all day, but we should probably get back to the Fortress. Now, one of the really important things we wanted to do was make it so that all the boss fights in the endgame are now accessible with a quest line. That means that to fight the Arbiter of Ash for the first time, you don't need to get lucky by finding keys. They will be in fixed locations and there's a quest to get them. But the Arbiter of Ash is no longer the pinnacle of Path of Exile 2. For that, you'll need to travel into the very center of the Fortress. An incredible challenge awaits you should you choose to go there. After the storyline, you still unlock keys for pinnacle bosses in the usual way, exploring the world and finding the keys required to get to them. But we have added a lot more interesting things to find out there as well. There are now all sorts of mechanics that can spawn on maps in the wilderness. For example, some maps might spawn as a rogue exile hunting ground, containing multiple rogue exiles who are there to hunt rare beasts. You might come upon them in the middle of a fight and be able to take out both of them. Or a map of champions that makes all the natural inhabitants of the area into magic monsters. Or this one that causes all shrines in the area to release Asmeri spirits when used. Once you have explored and found your keys, you can return to fight the Pinnacle in the Fortress again. But this version of him will be harder. And not only that, he will have new, unique rewards as well. Each time you fight him, you get the ability to activate one section of the fortress, and any maps that you didn't finish there will be automatically completed, giving you all the Atlas points. So if you're the type of player who doesn't want to explore the fortress, and instead just race out into the infinite Atlas, you still have a way to get all those points. So that's the Origins of Divinity storyline. It's a huge amount of new content with a ton of new areas, 5 new bosses, including a pinnacle, with a bunch of new unique items. But not only that, it also completely revamps the Atlas tree, and includes a ton of new map mechanics that you can find both inside and outside the fortress. But this is just one of the new storylines. So let's talk about the next one now, Masters of the Atlas. Now earlier we talked about how the multi-choice nodes in the tree allow you to still have an in-game Atlas build, but we didn't think that was quite enough. You have an ascendancy class for your passive tree. Why not an ascendancy class for your Atlas tree? Well, that's where the Masters of the Atlas come in. Throughout Rayclast are many opportunities for those with the skills to find them. Atlas Masters are willing to train you in these skills if you're able to help them in return. One such master is Jado, a member of the Order of the Jinn, an organization that secures powerful artifacts to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands. Jado will send you on missions to investigate strange occurrences on the Atlas and recover the artifacts causing them. And for each one you recover, he will gain more trust in you and teach you more ways of the Order of the Jinn. At level 1, you could choose to massively increase the chance for rare and unique chests, or make it so that all map bosses drop an additional unique item, or make corrupted waystones have an additional modifier, but at the cost of making them send you to a totally unknown location. Each mission you complete for Jado will unlock another row of abilities, and give you another point to allocate, letting you choose how you want to specialize. But there are other masters too. For example, Hilda. Hilda is a member of a guild of monster hunters. She will send you on missions to assassinate specific deadly creatures around Rayclast and harvest their parts. In exchange, she will teach you her monster hunting skills, like this one, which adds a 25% chance to upgrade any map boss to a powerful version. Or this one, which makes his Marian spirits no longer possess rare monsters, making them go for the unique bosses in the area instead. You might notice that many of the effects on these are both upsides and downsides. So Hilda, for example, can make it so that you only get one attempt when fighting pinnacle bosses, but in exchange for that, they always drop 2 uniques. Because of that, we wanted it to be easy to swap between them depending on what you're doing. As you unlock each master, they will appear on the side of the screen. Simply click whichever one you want to use to run the map, and all the bonuses you have selected for that master will be activated. This allows you to have a few different strategies that you can quickly pick between, depending on what you're running at the moment. Now, one thing that's been pretty obvious is that the endgame leagues we created when launching Early Access in 010 were not really up to the standard of the leagues we did since then. Fate of the Vaal and Rise of the Abyssal just have a lot more going on than Delirium or Expedition, for example. We wanted to do a serious upgrade to all of these mechanics before we do our 1.0 release, and so that's what we've done. All 4 of the leagues we launched in Early Access have been upgraded with not only new quest lines,
Gorgos Hatred
but new mechanics,
minions,
new crafting systems, new uniques, and new pinnacle bosses. One of the really important changes we made to all the leagues is that you can now find them on the Atlas in specific locations, and each one has a quest line that will lead you there to being able to complete the league, along with its Atlas tree and its pinnacle boss. This is true even for the leagues that we didn't do major redesigns to, so let's use Abyss as an example. When you first encounter one in the endgame, you'll get a quest that leads you to the east, where you will find these mega abyss cracks in the earth leading away from the Well of Souls. All the maps along the cracks will contain abysses with special properties, and mapping along these cracks will close the Atlas scale abysses, giving you points for the Abyss Atlas tree. At the end of each Atlas abyss, you'll find an Abyssal Depths, with the boss fight for one of the Abyssal factions, giving you a guaranteed way to fight them. And after completing all 3, you'll get a key for the Well of Souls, allowing you to fight the Vessel of Kulamak. This kind of thing makes an in-game league so much more friendly for new players, giving people obvious goals and a guided experience to complete them. Alright, so let's talk about the first of the upgraded leagues, Delirium, and its new storyline, The Hare and the Raven. As you may remember, during Act 4 you were tricked into releasing an ancient entity from a Karui prison known as Tangmazu, the Raven Trickster. Tangmazu delights in breaking the minds of those who step through his mirrors, and when touching one, he will attempt to destroy your mind with twisted abominations generated from your worst fears. In Return of the Ancients, the first time you approach one of his Delirium encounters in the endgame, you will find Elder Maddox locked in a trance. His mind is trapped in one of Tangmazu's delusions, and you will need to free him. Once free, Elder Maddox demands that as you caused this problem, you should put it right. He asks you to travel west to the Withered Willow, the location he believes that Tangmazu first gained his powers. But be careful. As you travel there, the Raven Trickster will attempt to break your mind. Each map around the Withered Willow features Delirium encounters. Now this is more than a simple quest upgrade. The mechanic of Delirium has been overhauled and expanded. At the bottom of the screen, there is now a bar that indicates how deep into Delirium you are. You can see which direction leads deeper by looking at the fog, and the deeper you go, the more challenges you will face. By looking at the bar, you can see how long you have until the Delirium ends. And you can also see special encounters that you will face if you're able to go deep enough into the fog. At the end of the bar is always the boss of the map, but we now have a variety of other encounters that you might find as you explore the horrors of your own mind. For example, you might encounter a purple mirror shard that when shattered will cause all the enemies to become more nightmarish. After hitting this, you'll notice the Delirium demons are enhanced, significantly more powerful, larger, and scarier in general, along with more rewards. Or should you encounter a red mirror shard, you'll be sent into the depths of your mind. And must escape it while fighting off hordes of your worst fears.
What the fuck is this?
If you are able to do so, you will gain a powerful amulet with 2 instilled notables on it. Once you reach the Withered Willow, Elder Maddox discovers that a shard of the mirror is missing. You will need to track down Tangmazu and restore it if you have a hope of discovering how to defeat him, and that means entering the Raven Trickster's mirrors in an attempt to locate him. Each area around the Withered Willow contains Delirium encounters, so that's a good place to start. As you do Deliriums, some of the special encounters will drop liquid emotions. Normally these emotions can be used to install amulets to add notable passive buffs to them, but in Return of the Ancients, emotions have a new function as well. Each one now has the ability to add crafted mods to jewels, allowing you to add specific mods to an item slot that can be quite difficult to roll.
20%, yes!
Liquid Despair will allow you to add critical hit chance, while Liquid Suffering will allow you to add movement speed or Air of Effect to your jewels, but there are many more. Once you've done enough Delirium encounters, the location of a Grand Mirror, an entrance into Tangmazu's realm, is revealed, but it won't be that simple to enter. Using his powers, he reflects the map boss for a ridiculous empowered fight, then destroys the entrance into his realm of madness. In order to find him now, you'll need to let the insanity fully into your mind. A strange fruit is left behind which you can consume to fully embrace the madness in an attempt to reach the Raven Trickster's realm. Consuming the fruit will cover an entire area of the Atlas in fog, and every map you do in the fog will get progressively harder and harder as you explore the deeper reaches of your mind. At some point you enter a new layer. A simulacrum of your memories, twisted and perverted by the Raven Trickster. Should you be able to complete the simulacrum, Tangmazu will believe that you are worthy of a true challenge, and will let you take the remaining shard of his mirror, allowing you to enter his realm of madness back at the Withered Willow. If you dare to face him, it will be a fearsome challenge.
Bitch. What the fuck is this?
So, that's the new storyline of Delirium. As you can see, it's not only a quest line, there are new mechanics, new crafting options, and new boss fights. But one question you might have is, what happens after? Well, once you've completed the story, Grand Mirrors will start appearing on the Atlas sometimes after completing Delirium encounters. After doing the Grand Mirror, you can select where on the Atlas you want to do your fruit-induced drug trip and get another key to fight Tangmazu. But this time, the fight will be quite a bit harder, and not only that, the fight will be able to drop a bunch of new uniques that were not available in the questline version. We'll show some of those later.
Bitch.
After doing a Grand Mirror, the decision of where to spread the fog can be important, because there are some potent emotions that only come from certain map bosses affected by Delirium this way. Like all emotions, they can craft special mods onto jewels, but these potent emotions can create mods that you can't get any other way. So for example, Potent liquid melancholy is an emotion that can only come from human bosses, and allows you to add a variety of on-hit effects. Also, you might want to try instilling amulets with these emotions. They could have some interesting effects, with some powerful notables that do not normally exist on the tree. Like Storm's Rebuke, which makes armor break boost your cold and lightning damage. But also notables from a clearly deranged mind, like Calm's Blessing. This skill allows you to ancestrally boost fire spells after using a Warcry. How about using an Ancestral Flame Blast? Now, just like before, you can also upgrade the League by getting points for a dedicated Delirium Atlas tree. But this now works in a much better way and has much cooler effects. The maps in the Delirium area of the Atlas give you Delirium passive points for completing them, so it's easy to see how to progress. Some nodes will add new types of mirror shard encounters to your Deliriums. Like this one, which will pause the Delirium for some amount of time, allowing you to more easily get to higher depths. Or this one, which adds extra Delirium modifiers to monsters when you pick it up. There are also nodes that can add new types of drops, like this one, which modifies Simulacrum encounters to add special liquid emotions, which can craft time-lost jewels.
Been rolled, get fucked.
And nodes that apply to the Atlas mechanics of the League, like this one, which causes the Grand Mirror to spread Delirium fog over a larger area of the Atlas, potentially containing multiple Simulacrums. Alright, so that's the changes to Delirium. The core mechanic now includes a bunch of new things to find, new monsters to kill, and has new mechanics on the Atlas. It also has new crafting system for jewels, and over 20 new unlockable notables for amulets. Not only that, we have a new pinnacle boss with a bunch of new unique items, and a massively upgraded Atlas tree just for Delirium. But there's still a lot more to come, so let's talk about Breach next. When you first do a Breach in the endgame,
Korgo's
you'll find
hatred
Aleph,
minions.
one of the Keepers of the Flame, an ancient order of monks dedicated to preventing the Hiveborn from entering the world. As you seem to be a keen slayer of demons, Aleph would like to recruit you to the order and asks that you travel to their monastery to the south. On the way there, you'll start to encounter more breaches, and will notice one of the first changes to the breach mechanic. You still have to kill monsters as fast as you can to keep the breach open, but now you can visibly see how much time you have left to keep it open, and how each kill extends its duration. Once you've reached the monastery, you will learn more about the Keepers. In the 25 years since the events of Keepers of the Flame in Path of Exile 1, the war with the Hiveborn has not gone well, and they have managed to establish a foothold in the world nearby. A gigantic area has fallen to the Scourge, and the Keepers are unable to get inside. Inside the monastery is the Genesis Tree, a powerful asset to the war effort, stolen from the enemy and gifted to the Keepers by the Dreamer himself. Using the tree, Aleph could create a breach stone and penetrate the Hiveborn foothold, but without Hiveblood, the tree has withered. To get Hiveblood, you will need to take advantage of another new mechanic of breach. If you can keep the otherworldly portal open for long enough, the breach will stabilize and will enter a new phase. The Hiveborn will send their toughest miscreations to defeat you, and the breach will not close until you can annihilate them, dropping Hiveblood that you can use to restore the Genesis Tree. In some cases, you may even attract one of the deadliest foes the Hiveborn can offer, a Marshal of Zesht. These monsters also drop womb gifts, and if you take these to the Genesis Tree, they can be used to craft items to help you in the war against the Hiveborn. Given that 25 years have passed since the beginning of the war, the tree has grown and withered many times, but with each cycle it learns and expands its abilities.
That guy, whenever he spawns.
When you first open the Genesis Tree, you will notice
That's
these
what he
holes
says.
into which you can place your womb gifts. Each womb gift can be used to create a different type of jewelry, and must be fertilized with Hiveblood. So for example, you can place this amulet womb gift into the tree, and it will give birth to a random rare amulet. But the Genesis Tree is capable of much more. As you continue
like
to feed
8,000
the tree,
nodes.
its branches will regenerate, and allow you more and more control over what kind of items it will birth. So for example, this branch of the tree will allow you to control which base types of amulets can be birthed.
Try Korgo dancing to this music.
And as you go deeper, it will even allow you to create new base types that you can't get anywhere else.
He approaches.
Like this one, which gives you an entire spirit skill for free. Or this one, which has a rune socket in it. To the left and right are branches that will let you control which mods the amulet can get, including making sure that they're higher level, or controlling which specific mods that they will always have.
This seems OP, man. Just breach.
With 15 points to allocate, you will have to choose wisely how you want to specialize your crafts.
Wisely, Korgos.
But it's worth noting that this tree doesn't have any cost to respecking it. You can enable or disable the nodes at any time by clicking on them.
Choose, Korgos. Choose.
On rings, we've also added some really interesting new crafting options as well. You have a bunch of new base types like these, but you also have entire new classes of mods that can be added. The right-hand branch of the ring tree adds an entire new set of caster mods to rings. From basics like extra elemental damage for spells, or more niche options like this mod that increases the rate you gain seals for Unleash. And on the left-hand side, you can unlock an entire new set of mods for minion characters.
Fuck off. Just delete that fucking
This
area.
stuff is actually pretty important, because
You know?
casters and minion builds didn't have as many
Delete
slots
that.
with interesting item crafting compared to
Waste.
attack builds. The Genesis tree narrows that gap. There are also trees for belts and currency. I won't go over them too much here, but there are all sorts of goodies in these too, like being able to create new catalysts for jewels, or a belt that gives lightning damage. Once you've done enough breach encounters, you may finally get a womb gift capable of birthing a breach stone.
No way.
And you can then use it on the Hiveborn incursion. Once used, the true extent of the Breach Demon's foothold becomes clear. They have not only transformed the land, but constructed huge sky hives as well. When you enter the outskirts of their realm, you will discover breach hives. Using the power of the Keepers of the Flame, these otherworldly structures can be burned away when walking through them. But for each one destroyed, more of the Hiveborn will attack when you attempt to purge the hive. These encounters are particularly rewarding for womb gifts, so you'll want to do as many of these as you can. But your real goal are the sky hives deeper into the domain. These twisted creations are securing the demon's entry into our world. Inside the very center are the Breach Lords Tool and Ash, and you'll need to defeat them if you want to get rid of the foothold once and for all. Now, once you've completed the questline version, there is still more to do. You will find other breach domains on the Atlas randomly in your travels. For each one, you will need to find a breach stone, destroy the sky hives, and defeat the Breach Lords. And doing these encounters is what will give you access to fight Zesht, the existing Breach Pinnacle boss, which you can access by communing with the Dreamer himself inside the monastery. While completing the questline for Breach, you will also be gaining points for the Breach Atlas tree, and there are a lot of cool new options here. This node will cause breach hives to spawn outside of the Hiveborn domains on the Atlas. And this one will give Aelith additional abilities that you can use while attacking a hive. Like this one, which causes all Hiveborn in the next wave to be magic, drastically increasing their difficulty in exchange for way more items. There are also nodes that allow you to control your rewards, like this one, which adds a set of new lineage supports to the Marshal of Zesht. Or this one, which lets you control which womb gifts you will get. There's also some nodes that affect the Genesis tree, like this one, which will cause Zesht to drop his head, which when returned to the Genesis tree, will grow a grasping orchid on the side of it. You'll have to experiment to find out what this thing is good for. Putting rings on its fingers seems to make it happy. So that's a rundown of what you can expect from the new Breach questline. There's a new stabilization mechanic for breaches, hive encounters,
Korgos.
and Hiveborn incursions on the Atlas. But you also have a huge new crafting system and new bosses as well. Alright, so let's talk about the Rite of the Nameless storyline next. When you first complete a ritual in the endgame, Aoife, a lost spirit, will appear. She appears to need your help, but isn't able to communicate more than a few words, beckoning you to come to the Wildwood. Like the other leagues, Ritual now has a place on the Atlas to call home. The Wildwood could be found to the west. When you first arrive there, Aoife's spirit will guide you in, where you will discover that inside the Wildwood, spirits can take physical form. Aoife has been bound to this place by the King in the Mists, and requests that you free her, but in order to do so, you will need her body currently in possession of the King. To reclaim it, you will need to gain an audience with him. Inside the Wildwood, there are many ritual encounters to complete. Like before, in each area, triggering rituals will resurrect the nearby bound monsters to attack you, and killing the monsters will give you tribute. In addition, each ritual you do in the area will add the monsters from the previous ritual, making the encounters much more challenging the more rituals you complete. Once you've completed them, spend your tribute to get items. Now, an important change to the rewards of Ritual is that all the items in the reward window are now uniques or omens, making this league's rewards much more valuable than before.
I mean, that's probably better.
In order to gain an audience
Instead
with
of
the
hovering
Nameless
over 20
King,
different rares.
you need to sacrifice tribute to him. Any remaining tribute you don't spend can be sacrificed this way to fill up this bar. Once you have enough tribute for an audience, return to the Wildwood to divine his location with the Nameless Shrine. His location will be revealed deeper in the Wildwood, and you will need to make your way to him, kill him, and get Aoife's body. Using her body, you can attempt to release her spirit, but this is when you learn about the true threat of the League. The Wildwood is built on top of an ancient prison. The King in the Mists didn't gain his power out of nowhere. He was granted it by an ancient being of darkness known as the Bodark, and the Nameless King's use of this power has been causing the prison to weaken. In order to prevent the Bodark from entering the world, a champion will need to enter its prison and beat him back, but those with a name are unable to survive there. In order to do so, you will need to transfer your name to another with a new mechanic in the Ritual League, the Rite of the Nameless. The Rite will begin in a nearby forest. At first, it appears to be a regular ritual encounter, but that will soon change. The final ritual of the area will include the map boss, and defeating him will give you a piece of the effigy onto which you will transfer your name. But the ritual is still not complete. Once the map boss is defeated, the atlas will open, and you will need to pick another adjacent map to continue the ritual. During the rite, each adjacent map will have different rewards to tempt you. So for example, if you go in this direction, you gain significantly more tribute, but if you go in this direction, the uniques in the reward window will turn into currency instead. You can also sometimes get offered specific items that will be added as rewards. So in this case, you'll have to choose if you want to get 5 Chaos Orbs or a Mage
Mega
Blood. Difficult decision,
Blood!
I'm sure. Now, as this is one continuous ritual, the encounters in the next map won't start from scratch. They contain all the monsters that were gathered from the rituals of the previous map as well, making them harder and harder. And that includes the map boss too. You will need to defeat both map bosses in the final encounter for your next effigy piece. And it still doesn't end there. Pick another map, another reward, and add another map boss to continue until the ritual of the Nameless is complete. It will take 5 maps in all, and will be an incredible challenge. But once complete, you can return to the Wildwood to perform the final rite. Transfer your name to the effigy, adorn the crown of the Nameless King, and enter the prison. Now of course, once the pinnacle boss is complete, the league doesn't end there. As you do rituals on the Atlas, you can continue to give tribute to the King in the Mists for another audience. Pick another forest to begin the Rite of the Nameless once more, and this time with a harder pinnacle boss and new unique items to find. Of course, we've also significantly upgraded the Ritual Atlas tree. Get points by completing maps in the Wildwood, and you'll be able to unlock some pretty cool nodes. Some of them affect the Rite of the Nameless, like this one, which extends its duration. You thought fighting 5 map bosses at once was hard? How about 6? Or this one, which makes maps during the Rite have more reward mods, often having 2. You also have nodes that allow things to combine with other content, like this one, which gives a chance for rituals to be created inside summoning circles, adding a random boss to the ritual encounter. There is even a node which adds a new type of possible ritual, the Audience with the Queen, which causes the Bride of the King to sometimes appear. Okay, so that's ritual. But let's have a look at what this means for endgame content as a whole for Path of Exile 2. When you include the expedition changes made by the League, we have a total of 5 new in-game storylines, each of which has a hub, crafting systems, areas to explore, NPCs, and a pinnacle boss as a capstone. Not to mention the Masters of the Atlas storyline as well. But more importantly, you now have immediate quests as soon as you arrive at the endgame, and goals with obvious progressions that you can see how to finish. Each in-game questline has a progress bar that you can pop out from the side of the Atlas screen at any time that shows you how far through you are, and buttons that will take you to the hubs for them. Overall, it's just a way better in-game experience with a significant number of fun objectives to complete. But just in case you didn't have enough goals, we did have one other thing that you might want to complete this league. These are called challenge leagues after all. Where are all the challenges? Well, players of Path of Exile 1 will be used to the fact that each league comes with a series of challenges that you can complete in order to prove that you are indeed the best. We haven't done these yet in Path of Exile 2, but it's time to change that. If you're able to complete them, you'll earn pieces of the Knight of Alder armor set. Opening the challenge screen will show you a series of 8 challenges. After completing each one, anyone in chat or in the forums will be able to see your prowess. In addition, you'll get a statue to put in your hideout showing anyone you trade with how many challenges you've completed. You'll earn the first piece of the armor set after doing 2 challenges, and the full armor set after completing all 8. So that covers all the content you'll encounter in Return of the Ancients. But what about some new tools to fight against these new pinnacles with? Well, we also have some new ascendancy classes as well, but to introduce them, I'll hand you guys back to Mark.
As Jonathan said, we have 2 new classes to show you today, the Spirit Walker and the Martial Artist. Let's start with the Huntress's new class,
Muted.
the Spirit Walker. The Spirit Walker has developed an affinity with the Asmerian animal spirits. She is able to infuse the power of multiple spirits at her choosing. On the bottom part of the class you will find paths for each wisp you would like to commune with, be they primal, vivid, or wild. Each one can give you different abilities that align with the stag, owl, or bear. Each ability gives you a method to become possessed by wisps of that type, and a new ability when you spend them. The stag allows you to summon stampedes when you attack. The owl grants boons in the form of their feathers, which adds extra projectiles and enhances the projectile speed of your next skill. And the bear simply summons a giant bear companion to your side. The bear will maul, slam, leap, and do intimidating roars to debuff your enemies. Now you can specialize more into each of these wisps, but if you want to combine all 3 of them, then a new hidden power will be unlocked, the power of the Sacred Wisps. This node is free and enhances the quality of all 3 of your spirit animals. Your bear will take some of the damage you take and grant you life regeneration. Your stags will become more aggressive, leaping towards enemies, and your owl-empowered skills will leave a trail of soaring ground behind them.
This actually doesn't seem like
But
minions.
that's not all.
It's just
The
buffing your
Spirit
guy.
Walker has other powers beyond wisps,
It's not even minions. We're safe.
such as Idolatry, which can give you large bonuses for using idol socketables in your
We're
equipment.
safe. It's not real minions, it's just buffs.
And this one, which is my absolute favorite. The Spirit Walker, having attuned herself with nature, can gain the ability to tame beast bosses,
Right, never mind.
opening up a whole suite of very cool options for your build. Maybe you tame the mighty Silverfist in the jungle depths. Or maybe a 3-headed chimeral beast in the chimeral wetlands. Or then there's a giant frozen owl beast, Rakar, the frozen talon. There's so many choices. You're going to have to experiment a bunch with this one, and I'm very excited to see what bosses you all choose to have as your trusted boss companion. Next up, we have the Monk's new Ascendancy class,
Jackie
the
Chan.
Martial Artist. After decades of training, he has mastered 3 of the 7 hollow techniques. Channeling hollow form technique allows the martial artist to create illusions of himself, which then use a skill of your choosing. Perfect for turning skills with less area of effect into ones that can obliterate packs with ease. Should you find yourself overly vulnerable while channeling, you might want to take Way of the Mountain, which causes
What?
you to be covered in stone when you immobilize enemies, mitigating large amounts of damage. This can even enhance your attacks too. By hardening your weapon in stone, you can deal even more damage. After taking Hollow Focus technique, you can manifest your spiritual energy into objects. In this case, bells, which will appear around the martial artist and can be shattered by any of his attacks, even ones from the Hollow Form technique earlier. Hollow Resonance technique furthers that by adding a manifested bell to your back, which rings each time you deal a critical strike, damaging all enemies around you. Through all the martial artist's thorough training, he has mastered the flow of internal spiritual energy too, and has engraved runic tattoos around his meridians. By doing this, he can gain the benefit of extra runes. Just open your inventory and add the runes.
That's a lot of runes.
There is one that counts as a helmet, 2 as a body armor, 1 as gloves, and 1 as boots. Finally, your hands, the ultimate expression of a master of the martial arts. Taking Way of the Stone Fist will cause your gloves to become a new base type when equipped. Each modifier on the original pair of gloves has an equivalent, more powerful, and more impactful modifier. For example, these gloves add some physical damage, cold damage, lightning damage, some resistances, and life gain on hit. Now, when I equip these, they become literal fists of stone, and not only grant me a bunch more evasion and energy shield, they now also grant a lot more damage, some maximum resistances, and a significantly higher amount of life gained on hitting enemies. With all the different rune combinations you could do, and the different modifiers on gloves, there's a ton of different build options, and we're looking forward to seeing what you can come up with. Now, with so many new bosses in Return of the Ancients, of course we want to have a huge number of unique rewards. There are some pretty cool things in here, so we wanted to show you a few of them. Twisted Empyrean is a two-handed mace made from the purest of Verisium, combined with the beast's corruption. It converts all of your mace's skills fire damage to cold, and visually does so too, turning your volcanic fissures into glacial ones. This mace also comes with its own built-in skill, Starborn Onslaught. Using Glory, you can leap backwards, throwing your mace at the ground, creating Verisium fissures, before calling behind it a storm of cold metallic bolts from the stratosphere. Next, we have Eventide Petals, an amulet that not only grants runic ward, but also comes with its own reservation skill, Midnight Zenith. This skill causes your critical hits to grant Arctic petals that hover around you. Once you have acquired enough of these petals, they will be consumed,
you can hear that music in the background?
creating a floral ice crystal near an enemy. Then, destroy that crystal to do devastating cold damage to everything around it. The Raven's Flock is a staff perfect for minion characters. Not only does it grant spirit reservation efficiency and minion damage, it also allows your minions to inflict grueling madness on hit, slowing enemies and making all other slows on them more powerful, for maximum crowd control. That's not where this item shines though. It grants a skill called Spiraling Conspiracy. This skill causes a flock of ravens to circle you, dealing damage over time to anything near them. Killing enemies, or just by standing near unique enemies, causes the flock to grow, getting larger and larger. For your PoE 1 players, you can think of this just like a Raven Righteous Fire. That's not all, however. These ravens are also minions, so they fully scale with minion damage and come with their own command skill, Mad Flight. This command skill causes your flock to create a tunnel of deathly damage between a set of illusory mirrors, obliterating anything in between. Horror's Flight is a pair of gloves instilled with the purest of fear. Equipping these causes your enemies to become terrified of you.
Items, I'm pretty sure.
These gloves cause you to gain stacks of fear incarnate when you cull enemies. To aid in your culling, these gloves also come with the skill Crushing Fear. This is similar to the monk skill Killing Palm, except it deals chaos damage, and the amount of damage and area of effect scales drastically based on the power of the enemy. As you use this, gain your stacks of Fear Incarnate, which increases your culling threshold, meaning enemies become easier and easier to cull, even to the point of being able to instantly kill some monsters from full life. Sylvan's Effigy is a scepter for those wanting to run companions. It allows you to have any number of companions of different types, instead of the normal restriction of just one per type. But what makes this cool is the Asmerian Wolf Companion it comes with. This is a persistent minion that bites foes to maim them, leaps to cause bleeding, and even howls to buff nearby allies. Additionally, it comes with the command skill Eternal Hunt, which when used it will howl, calling on the spirits to manifest spectral wolves to ambush all foes around you. Liminal Coil is a crazy wand. It allows you to apply as many curses as you please, but those curses will have no effect. What's the point then? 2 reasons. Firstly, your spells gain a bunch of extra physical and chaos damage for each curse on enemies. Secondly is the skill it grants called Coiling Bolts. This skill is a projectile spell that fires coiling physical and chaos projectiles with every cast. What makes this skill truly special though, is that it will split and chain through every cursed enemy, causing an absolute ruckus. See for yourself. Periphery is a unique bow, which utilizes
Level
all
90.
powers of the Asmerian spirits by dealing damage of all elements. And all elements can cause all ailments. The coolest thing about this bow, however, is the Asmerian Swarm skill. These are minions that are summoned when you kill enemies. They will pursue all nearby enemies, damaging them and inflicting a
Fuck
debuff
off with
on them that
minion
boosts
shit.
your elemental
Delete
damage
that.
even further.
No minion.
Watch as you mow enemies down, and the swarms of Asmerian wisps aid you, melting enemies one screen at a time. The Ordained is a new spear, mastering in physical and lightning damage, with high critical strike chance
I
too.
wonder where this comes from.
This spear
Surely not the
allows
new
you to
pinnacle
leech life
boss.
not only from physical damage, but lightning too. It also creates a fragment of divinity nearby periodically. What are those? Well, this spear has the skill Righteous Descent, which is an epic, divine leap, aided by angelic wings. If you use the skill when a fragment of divinity is nearby, it will become empowered, dealing significantly more damage, gaining massive area of effect, and bypassing its cooldown. When fighting a boss, let a bunch of the fragments spawn, and then just unleash your divine havoc, obliterating them.
60k. 60k.
Last, but not least, we have a new unique jewel.
Voices.
Voices. Voices is simple. It consumes 1 jewel slot to add more. There are versions that add
This is
2
power
jewel
creep.
slots, 3 jewel slots, and for those who are absurdly lucky or rich, one with 4 jewel slots.
This just
Equip
makes
it
every
and
build
notice the
better.
slots appear
Wait, what
next
is
to your
this?
character's
This
portrait
is
in the
some
center.
OP. That's just like some disgusting OP power creep. Good
One
thing
of the
there are
things
life
we are
jewels in
concerned
this
about
game.
is how long it takes for experienced players to replay through the game in each new league.
As we learned from Path of Exile 1, one of the things that can really help is having elements in the campaign that tell you where to go, if you know what to look for. We'll cover just one example per act for Acts 1 to 3, but there are many more than just these. For example, Hunting Grounds in Act 1 is a large, sparse area, containing multiple entrances and landmark encounters. Here's an example of some of the changes we've made here. Finding the ritual encounter in this area isn't too difficult. Now after completing it, a trail of locusts will lead to the entrance to Freythorn. Just follow it and find the source of the evil.
No? I'd rather
You
just
might
skip the
also
ritual.
find corpses of dead animals, killed and pecked at by the crowbell. You'll notice a trail of blood leading away from them. Follow the trail and it will lead directly to the boss.
We even put a signpost on the road to tell you which way to go to find Odin Village.
In Act 2, in the Mastodon Badlands, you need to find the Lightless Caverns and track down the Abyssal. Now to make this quicker, in the level you'll find these cracks. Just follow them, and it will take you right to their lair, allowing you to find and unlock the Well of Souls. In Act 3, the jungle areas have camps of explorers to sell you items. However, they are now even more useful. By talking to the explorers, they will point towards the next area. Not only that, but it will also reveal it on the minimap, so you can know exactly where to go. These are just some examples. We plan to do more and more of these over time in order to streamline the experience. Now, as this is an endgame expansion, it makes sense that we would work on Atlas QOL. We've added a search box that updates live as you type. Have a specific map you want to run? Now they will be much easier to find. If there are multiple maps, hitting enter will move you from map to map.
Now, making a character build in Path of Exile 2 can be pretty complex. And instead of designing a build yourself, many players enjoy following online build guides.
We have a pretty awesome community that has built many tools over the years for designing builds, but we wanted to improve the experience of following them.
So, we are introducing a new build guide system directly into the game client.
Here's how it works. Community creators who write build guides can now create a new file format, a build file. Once downloaded, the builds appear in the in-game client.
My
And selecting one will show
sponsors!
you everything you need to know to make that build. So you can see all the passives you need to allocate, ascendancy points you need to take, skill gems you need to equip, and recommendations for all the support gems you need to use as well. For items, the build designer can specify which uniques to use in each slot, or if needed, just add some notes to the item slot to say what kind of item you need. In fact, build creators can add notes to just about any of these areas, allowing them to explain different trade-offs in context, or just give more info about how these things should be used. They can also give level ranges to each element, allowing recommendations to change over time. Great for builds that need to respec after they reach a certain level.
Now, all of this is written in a standardized build format that creators can use, and we imagine that a lot of community build tools will be updated to add support for this format.
Now that we have trade market searching built into the in-game client, we have added the ability to price check items you can find more easily. Control-Alt-clicking an item will now search for it on the trade market, showing you the current prices. For rare items, it's handy to exclude some mods, so we added the ability to enable and disable each mod so you can see what effect each one has on the price. Next up, we're going to be talking about the new supporter packs for Return of the Ancients. Today, we're launching two new series of supporter packs, the Blood Reaver and Divinity packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Blood Reaver series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. Let blood fuel your bloodshed. The Exsanguinator weapon effect draws the blood of enemies you've slain and funnels it into your weapons. Turn the appearance of your endurance, frenzy, and power charges into orbiting globules of blood with the Blood Reaver charges. While your charges are active, these blood orbs will grow in size when you absorb more blood from nearby enemies. There are options to have pure blood charges, or charges that still display which kind of charge they are at their core. A taste for blood doesn't negate a taste for style. The Elite Blood Reaver armor features crimson leathers and golden accents to set yourself apart from
Gorgo.
uncivilized leeches.
He could be
It also
evil.
features a back attachment, fashioned
He could
out
be
of the wing
Gorgo.
of a colossal bat.
He could be evil.
Alongside every Blood Reaver is their trusted gargoyle pet.
Fuck.
In true gargoyle fashion, they take the form of a stone statue when you are idle, leaping into action when you're on the move again.
What's a
What
bat
good
wing?
is immortality if you don't have a vast mansion to come home to at the end of the day? The Eternal Blood Reaver supporter pack contains the Blood Reaver Manor Hideout. This exquisite 2-story estate features an organ, a grand dining table, and cages for your visitors. You can alter the walls to create as many or few rooms as you like. Last but not least, the Servant of the Manor, eternally bound to the Order of the Blood Reavers. This henchman will manage your store, so you can spend more time spilling blood.
Stop that. We won't disappoint you. But if we do, you've our permission to beat us most violently.
The Divinity Pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. Call on Divinity to aid you in eluding enemy hits with the Divinity dodge roll effect. As you sprint, actual divine lightning wings will form out of your back, leaving a trail of radiance as you engage or escape from combat. For situations that are too dicey, call on the gods above to send down the Storm of Divinity portal to create a safe passage for you to retreat through. Adorn yourself with the Knight of Divinity armor set, a highly revered attire only bestowed to those deemed worthy for the divine cause. Equipping the Divine Surge character effect empowers you with a storm of divine energy. Using skills causes the storm to burst from your character, spilling raw divinity into the area around you. The Arbiter of Divinity wings are the final piece remaining to emphasize the force Divinity has over this realm. This ancient precursor machine was found locked away in a highly guarded vault. Its original purpose is unclear, but it has been altered to fuel your maps using the pure, everlasting divinity within the statue. The pillars surrounding represent how many portals you have left for your map. This map device also tracks your progress as you complete the new Origins of Divinity storyline, added this expansion. Additionally, all microtransactions from the supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 1. On release weekend, we will also be releasing the Return of the Ancients mystery box, which will contain 2 armor sets, a set of map devices for your in-game adventures, a new tracking scroll that records the amount of currency you've gained from the currency exchange or your shop, and much more, like a set of finisher effects and affinity stashes. That's not all, however. The Fragment Stash tab is finally coming to Path of Exile 2, and with it comes some tabception. Inside this one tab, there's a tab for your various boss key fragments. There's also a tab for all your precursor tablets, with each type of tablet getting 6 tabs of storage. Finally, there's a tab for your Djinn barriers and inscribed ultimatums, both of which get their own 6 tabs. That's a lot of tabs.
So that's everything in 050.
What?
This is by far the biggest update we've ever made to PoE 1 or 2. New in-game storylines, pinnacle bosses, crafting systems, items, ascendancy classes, and so much more. Now, because this update contains so much in-game content, we're doing significantly more testing than usual. For that to happen, we're taking a little longer than usual between the announcement and the release. 050 will be released in 3 weeks on May the 29th, with the patch notes being released on the Friday before that, on May 21st.
No patch notes.
But there's just one more thing to talk about.
Prove it.
Now that the endgame is up to scratch, we have to start talking about our plan for 1.0 release. The feedback we've had during early access has been critical for making all the improvements that we'll be making to the game. At the same time, we had to create enough in-game content to make an ARPG that can call itself a successor to Path of Exile 1. Well, with 050, we now believe we have reached that point, and so this is going to be the last full-size league during early access. That's right, the next big update is going to be 1.0. Now, normally we would do our next big content release in August, but in the run-up to full release, our plans take a little longer on this one. As big as 050 is, 1.0 is even bigger. So we'll be launching 1.0 this year sometime after ExileCon. But that doesn't mean we won't be doing updates in the meantime. In this final phase, we have a lot of things to polish throughout the game and balance to improve. I'm sure there'll also be feedback about the new endgame that we need to incorporate too. The difference is that the focus is not going to be on adding more content like the previous updates, it's going to be on improving what we already have. But we still want to encourage people to try out all the balance changes and improvements that we're making. So we're going to be running a few event leagues during this phase alongside each update. Think remixes of existing mechanics or features. And speaking of ExileCon, don't forget to pencil it in on the weekend of November the 7th in New Zealand. ExileCon is a gathering of our players, and a chance for us to showcase everything we'll be working on for both Path of Exile 1 and 2. And this one will be particularly important for us, since we finally get to unveil some of the coolest content that we've been working on for a while now with Act 5 and 6. Tickets for the in-person event are currently sold out, but don't worry, all the announcements and talks are going to be streamed online for all of you to watch. Now I'm personally so
Already
excited
sold
for
out,
this.
GG.
This is the year that PoE 2 comes out. The campaign is finally finished. It's been 8 years to get here, but we're finally near the finish line. And with that, it's time to move on to our live Q&A.
What? You skip patch notes, but you give us this.